the issue in relation to the flood situation in the country. Yesterday it did rain heavily, and of course we know we have selected spaces such as the Kulima Tower bus station, amongst many other areas in the central business districts that usually get flooded. And I would want us to start this conversation by us getting your first reaction to the flood situation that have continued to surely ravage the central business district of Lusaka, please.
Well, look, my first reaction is, of course, it's not something which we think is desirable. It's something which probably must not have been happening. But yes, we are alive to the fact that there are issues around climate change. The rains in the last 1, 2, 3 weeks have been quite heavy. But there's also an indication to say that we've probably been careless as a people. We have had drainages which are blocked. We've had people putting up structures in areas where they're not supposed to put up structures, and all this is disturbing the flow of water. You know, we've lived in, some of us have lived in this country and even in Lusaka for much longer, and I can attest to the fact that way back we had instances where we had very heavy rains, but the flooding would just be there maybe for 5 minutes or so, and water is quickly running into the drains and going towards where it is supposed to go, because the drains are meant to give direction to the water. But I think over a period of time as a people, we had become more or less negligent and caring, and we ended up doing things without thinking of the consequences of some of the things that we're doing. But when we are hit with such a situation like what was happening yesterday, I saw on social media was awash with pictures, people showing you this is Kamwala, this is Akets, this is Kamwala South, Kabwata. Many places had a lot of water on the roads, which is not necessarily a good thing. An indication that yes, we had heavy rain, but also an indication to say that we need to collectively improve our drainage system. Now, when I'm talking of a drainage system, I'm not saying that we probably don't have drains. We actually have the number of drains in most places. But the issue is, are they functioning as drains? The answer is no. And the question is, why are they not functioning as drains? It is because you and I, the public, we are throwing garbage in the drains. Secondly, there are also elements where the people we have given assignments to clean up the drains might not be doing a very good job. But what is important is, how are we acting as a people? Are we the ones who are dumping garbage in the drains? The answer is yes. Are we the ones who throw plastic bottles when we finish taking our water? We are at the bus stop, we just leave it so that when the water comes, it sweeps away this water bottle into the drain? The answer is yes. So we all need to begin to take responsibility. We all need to ensure that when we finish taking our water, taking our Coca-Cola, taking our milk, taking our, or even whatever food, the garbage must be put in a bin, or it must be put in a plastic carrier, so that the company which is supposed to collect the waste comes and picks this waste and takes it to the dump site, or the engineered landfill, as what Chunga must be. So it's a question of all of us to begin to act correctly. Arguments can be made to say, look, but I'm just one person. But it's this one person who, by their action of acting correctly, can influence the other people also to act correctly. You alone, if you act correctly, I also act correctly. Everyone else will act correctly. Do we think that there'll be dirt in the drainages? The answer is no. So the critical message which we need out there, other than pointing fingers at one another, to say, no, awe tuwarapembela limbiwa Mulenga bala isa wabomberepo, awe ni wapiesa wadefufyanya, nangudiwa minister, no uteko tabule bomba. Those will not help us in any way. What will help us is to act correctly. If you find somebody throwing litter in a place where they're not supposed to, you have an obligation to report that person to the council or to the police so that relevant action is taken against them, because what they're doing is illegal. What they're doing is unacceptable. What they're doing is causing harm to all of us collectively as a community. So we need to work together in order to restore the community to the status which we want it to be. And of course, it is not a scene that you'd want to see where people have got their houses are flooded. People are using buckets to try and take water out of their homes. And look, you indicated to say we could have cholera is lurking now with such floods as a result of our own actions. I think we are putting ourselves in danger. That's why I'm re-emphasizing the point to say we need to act, and we need to act correctly. And maybe let me also just take this opportunity to just bring out something which is actually going around. I have issued, as permanent secretary, I'd written a letter to the local authorities, guiding them on how we need to approach the aspect of cleaning. And at number 3, I had given a directive to say all the local authorities shall ensure that all business houses remain closed during cleaning periods from 14 to 17 hours on every first Friday of the month, and should ensure that no premises operates during that period. I wish to withdraw this number 3 to say all business houses must remain closed, and replace it with all business houses must ensure that they participate in the cleaning, must ensure that they assign people to participate in the cleaning on the agreed day, because what we are looking at is a collaboration. It's a partnership between the local authorities, between the Ministry of Local Government, between the people, between the business community, so that we achieve cleanliness. Because if cholera strikes, then we might not have a business to talk about, because there will be people will be sick. There will be nobody coming to our premises. So my appeal to all the businesses is that let us participate in the cleaning. Let us assign sufficient staff members to go out there and participate in the cleaning. I think it is very, very important that we do so. And we are open as government to engagement, to discussion on how we can collaborate and work together to ensure that the aspects of cleanliness is achieved. And it's actually regrettable that we have to reach a level where we have to write memos to local authorities vis-a-vis looking at the aspect of cleanliness, because it must come as an automatic. We must ensure that the front of our shops are clean. The parking area in front of our shop is clean. It must not necessarily need the local authority to come in and say, why are you not cleaning this place? We must also ensure that we have bins placed inside our shops so that customers who walk into our shops, if they have anything that they need to throw, they would have a bin within the premises, which is not something which is very common when you go into the CBD. But my appeal once again is, let us ensure that we act correctly. I can give credit to most of the shopping malls. When you go to the shopping malls, they're generally clean. Most of the shopping malls are generally clean. But who are the people who are cleaning the shopping malls? It is people like you and me. It is Zambians. It is business people. It is because they have been deliberate about it. So my appeal is, let us be deliberate about ensuring that we are operating in a clean environment. And if we can achieve cleanliness, even the aspect of saying we would have a day or half a day reserved for cleaning might not even come into play, because we'll be clean. We'll be cleaning every day. And it's even will take less time when we're cleaning every day. Have a program to say every day in the morning, between a specified period of time, you do up your cleaning. If you also want to clean during lunch, you do up your cleaning. I ask a question again. How is it that shopping malls are clean? They have schedules. They have discipline, which is something which has been lacking. And of course, to the public who move around in town, because the difference between a shopping mall is that in a shopping mall, it's usually a controlled environment. But we could also create a controlled environment within the CBD, because it's all about discipline. It's all about discipline. The same people, you and I, can be walking on Cairo Road and we can throw garbage indiscriminately. But when we go into a shopping mall, we will not do it. Why don't we do it? We are the same person. So it's a question of discipline, it's a question of attitude. So we need to work on our minds and correctly act so that we deliver cleanliness for our people. And when an environment is clean, chances are that business will be picking. When we are organized, when people can easily come, walk in and walk out of your shop, you will see an improvement in traffic. When people know that this place I'm going to is clean, is organized, they can come to your business premises anytime. So a business actually cleaning, for me, is an investment. It's an investment, it's an attraction, and it is something which you must do. And actually, in the long run, if we clean up Lusaka, for example, you even see an increase in the number of tourist arrivals, because they know to say, we are going to a place which is clean, we are going to a place which is organized, we can freely walk, we can freely mingle, we can freely look at possible, tourist sites within Lusaka. Because even in Lusaka, we've got places which people can actually visit and, enjoy the ambience, enjoy the environment. But the first point of call is we need to be clean, we need to be organized, and then we'll attract people coming into the country. Foreigners, when they do come in, it also means that it's a boost in terms of businesses, generally speaking. So for now, that would be my opening statement.
All right. With that said, Mr. Mulenga, I would want to bring you on board. Of course, PS has broken the ice, the cake in a different perspective, and also touching on one important issue relating to public health,
Sure.
which we'll be touching on with regards to even your active participation towards the relaunch
Sure.
of cleaning the drainages, of which we did take part in. But allow me to get your reaction towards the floods that we're experiencing in the country.
Well, first and foremost, we need to understand that when we talk about floods, these are natural disasters. Sometimes, of course, we can try to get away with them, and then sometimes it's very difficult. However, looking at the structure of our country itself and the markets that we have, the drainages and everything, I think we are also lacking the good structure. I would put it that way. You look at Lima Tower. Lima Tower, each and every year, we find floods there. And it was very disappointing that yesterday people could go there and post pictures on social media saying, welcome to Lake Lima Tower, which is not supposed to be the case. But in one way or the other, you look at how many drainages do we have in Lima Tower? If there are drainages, what about the flow of water? Even if there are drainages there, are we responsible as citizens to take good care of our drainages? No. So again, the question or the concern is also coming back to us. In as much as the government each and every time trying to put across every necessary equipment that we may use, but we also need to look at our behavior as citizens. How are we interacting with our own environment that we have? I'm not only an activist, but I'm also a philosopher who studied philosophy of ethics and environmental, where one is supposed to be responsible of his or her own environment. But I've just come to realize that we are doing injustice to our own environment. And later on, what do we say? We blame the government. No, they are not providing this, they are not providing that. But we are forgetting that we also have got a play in that. So when you talk about floods, of course, these are natural disasters, but we are also contributing a lot. And the government also, they are also contributing when it comes to the failure of everything that is going on in the country as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
sure.
in which way, when you talk about the failure that is currently obtaining,
The failure,
what failure are you pointing at as
the
now?
failure that I'm pointing is that we are still using the same system.
Which system is that?
The system I'm talking about, where we talk about waste management, solid waste management and everything. The same system the MMD, UPN, I mean PF, UPN are using, it's one and the same. We can't develop like that. We can't. So we need to put something, a permanent solution. Now, how do we come up with a permanent solution? That's where we need to focus. It's not about telling people to say stop littering around. It's not about cleaning, but changing people's mindset. How many times do they say street vendors go out of the stations, go out of the markets? Each and every government, they talk about that. But just few weeks or few months, you find them back into the streets. So at the moment, this is not just the story of talking to say, what are we going to do? Let's find a permanent solution.
Okay.
Yes.
This is Environmental Chat right here on Live Radio 97.3 FM. In the studio, I do have with me Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Mr. Mambo Hamaundu. I have with me also an environmental activist, Martin Mulenga. For your comments, questions, as well as contributions, in the meantime, you can drop me a voice note on WhatsApp. It is on 0977 624270. That is 0977 624270. A few minutes from now, I'll be able to open the phone lines for you to come through and interact with our guest this morning on the program right here on Live Radio 97.3 FM. The last point, PS, before we can move to the issue of public health and what we saw, which prompted you to issue a memo, of which you've touched on paragraph 3 of that particular memo. I would want to just get your overall comment. Of course, we are speaking to long-term solutions, and on the 20th of November 2022, the Engineering Institute of Zambia did issue out a statement with regards to them expressing concern, worry over the continued floods in some parts of Lusaka, despite them offering a proposal to the Lusaka City Council on how to permanently curb the flooding situation in the city. According to the president of EIZ, Ebo Ngandu, he said that because of the continued flooding issue in some parts of Lusaka, because of the continued issue of the flooding situation in Lusaka, it did summon the Lusaka City Council Director of Engineering, Lifrat Ndaba, to explain why floods keep recurring despite their institution's guidance. Mr. Ngandu told journalists in Lusaka that it is disappointing that the people of Lusaka are subjected to floods every rainy season when the engineering body gave advice on how to end the problem. I would want to get your position, as now obviously we get a statement from LCC that should be last year, November, with regards to it being practically impossible for them to start working on the drainage situation, and that as of now they will continue utilizing the fighting equipment to surely drain the water within Kulima Tower before a long-term solution is put up. I want to find out what plans are laid down on from the ministry with regards to how it is looking at the issue of flooding within CBD.
Well, look, you've picked out one place, Kulima Tower, and I think even Martin here was talking of Kulima Tower, and he indicated to say there are no drainages in Kulima Tower, or the drainages are not are non-functional.
Mm-hmm.
What is true is that there are drainages in Kulima Tower.
I agree with you.
There are drainages in Kulima Tower. The only thing is they are blocked. That is one of the biggest problems, is that the drains are blocked. We could also argue perhaps to say maybe the size, some of them might not be wide enough,
Mm-hmm.
but the drains are there. So if they were not blocked, we would not have that challenge. And when you look at what the council has been doing,
Mm-hmm.
I do recall when we had the first rains in 2022, the heavy rains. I actually went on site and just observed what the fire department was doing. Yes, they brought in a firefighter, and they were using it to pump water out from the center into a drain, which is located somewhere near the toilets. When you're coming from Chachacha Road, you know, getting into Kulima Tower, there's an underground drain there. So they were pumping water from using pipes. They ran a pipe to that particular drain, and water was flowing. But the challenge that has been there is that because of our behavior as a people, the drains underneath were blocked. That's why the fire department had to come in and put in that temporal measure to ensure that temporarily that situation is dealt with. In terms of long-term solutions, of course, it entails that the drainages must be unblocked. And if you go to outside Kulima Tower on Freedom Way, you'd find that there's some excavation which has happened. All that is meant to help to drain Kulima Tower. There's a drainage or two which could be redirected to go onto a drain which is on Freedom Way. Those are some of the practical measures which are being taken. But I would still insist to say that if as a people we were acting correctly, the incidents might not be as elevated as we are seeing now, where indeed Martin says people were joking to say that we are in Lake Kulima Tower. Okay? So solutions are there. But what I'm saying is the people are part of the solution. You know, this tendency we have at times where we go out there and we are saying, well, we are at Lake Kulima Tower and we are celebrating and we are laughing about it. Doesn't really help anyone. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help you. It doesn't even help the one who's posted to say there's Lake Kulima Tower, because if even them, they probably won't be able to pass through that Lake Kulima Tower. So what we must do as a people is pull together, move in one direction, agree on what needs to be done. So in terms of long-term solutions for Kulima Tower, is opening up the drain. My young brother here says we might not have sufficient infrastructure or drainages. It's a yes and no. I said I've lived longer. I'm looking at the two of you, arguably, or not even arguably, I know it for a fact that the two of you are far much younger than me. I've lived in this Lusaka, and the same Cairo Road, water was being drained. The same Cairo Road, the same Freedom Way, when it rains, water would move. But what has changed is we have become indisciplined as a people. Right now, you go into some places, you find that people have put up a structure on top of a drain. And then when you try and say what you are doing here is not correct, the narrative that will be drawn is that you don't want to support poor people. You don't want to support vulnerable people. You don't want to support people who've lost their parents. All kinds of things will be advanced. But we are looking at a situation where we are saying, look, as a result of this activity, when the rain season is upon us, you will not just inconvenience yourself, but you also inconvenience many other people. In that, the place will be flooded. Secondly, if it is not addressed, there's a chance that because of what you have done, there could be an outbreak of diarrheal diseases, there could be an outbreak of cholera, and you could also be at risk of contracting this cholera and possibly death. But people at times do not realize that. So we just stick to one point and we say you do not care, or you are not interested in the welfare of these people, when the reality is actually different. The truth is we are more interested in the welfare of this person, because we don't want to expose them to disease. We don't want to expose them to premature death as a result of cholera. we actually don't want to predispose them to other dangers that arise from operating in such an environment. The other day, my minister was giving an example where people they defecate in a park of Shake in the middle of town. Where do they dispose that? They just put it somewhere along the way. Who is being exposed? The general public. This is one person who's had an act of indiscipline, but the effect or the impact is on majority of the people who are actually going through town. The other day again, I was in town and I met some person just after Her Honor the Vice President went through Cairo Road, Freedom Way, Lumumba. You know, there was that cleaning which took place on Saturday. Moments later, people were at it again. They had started dumping garbage on the islands of Freedom Way. You move a few meters, you're at Stanley Bar, there's garbage there. At the beginning of Freedom Way, there's garbage there. But when I reached that opposite Kulima Tower, I found this gentleman who was looking a bit drunk. But when he saw me, I think he did recognize me, and he said, "Boss, namubwela." I feel chikata feel boss. Boss mwachilabo mbolu chelo apanomba moneni. Abantu tababa bwino. Moneni febalechita. So I asked them to say, now, so you people here, where do you throw these things? So their response was, we clean. And this person goes on to tell me to say, boss, I'm a vendors, pama levels 5. Kwali baba besa nabemye fintu, kwali baba besa obushiku, kwali baba batandika. And then he says, abashupa sana boss, ni ababa besa obushiku. Pantu takuluba mona eva pose fintu. But indeed, when you go around, you look at what is obtaining, you look at the garbage which is in the center of the island. Just when you look at the garbage, it will tell you a story on where the garbage is coming from. If you find their vegetables, you know that it is vendors who have done that. If you find their boxes and plastics, you know that this is a shop owner who's abusing the system by paying someone to say, go and dispose of this garbage for me, instead of engaging a franchise business or somebody involved in solid waste management. So you can tell just from the composition of this, and this in itself is telling us to say, other than the street vendors, there are also people who are operating in official businesses who are abusing the system and are contributing to putting debt on the street, exposing each and every one of us to diarrheal diseases, exposing each and every one of us to cholera, limiting the chances or the prospects of tourists coming into the country, because they know that when we get into Zambia, we'll find an environment which is sanitary. They are limiting that possibility of a foreign person coming to Zambia to just come and see what Lusaka is like. Because the picture we are sending out there is that Lusaka is dirty. Right now, if you compare Lusaka and Kigali, many people do visit Kigali. Why? Because generally, one of the products that they are selling is cleanliness. Just cleanliness alone. Organization, having an ambience or an environment which is green, it is attracting people to go into Kigali. This is something which we can do. This is something which we are able to do, and I think we shall do as a people. All we need to do is work together. My young brother here has indicated to say, you know, it could be a situation where you are doing things in a similar manner. For me, my job now is to listen to suggestions, is to listen to ideas. I will not come here and put up a posture to defend, to say we are not doing things in a similar manner or we are doing things differently. that is not something that that I will do, because what we are doing or what we are not doing will be seen. Because we are the ones who are, if we are the ones who are supposed to do it, what we are doing will be seen. So I will listen to suggestions, and if there are suggestions which we think or believe will drive the agenda of a clean, green, and better environment, we shall definitely embark on it. In the 8th National Development Plan, one of the key pillars is that of environmental sustainability. So we need to begin to actualize some of these things. It is our role, it is our responsibility to ensure that this does happen. But we'll not do it in isolation. It's not just about government. Normally, people, when they are talking of government, they think that government it's the president, it's the vice president, and the entire cabinet. It is the PSs, and the rest of us are not government. No, we are all government. We all have a shared vision. We all need to work towards actualizing that agenda. And in the process, some people might feel like they are being their opportunity or their source of livelihood is being tempered on. Sometimes it is necessary to achieve the global picture, a better Zambia for everyone. So we are here to listen and get ideas from the people who are living within the community, because at times there's this thinking to say, by virtue of the fact that I hold a certain position, I might not be able to go into Cairo Road. I might not know what is happening at Soweto. I have no idea on what is happening in the tunnels in Kabwata. I have no idea what is happening in Chilenje. That is the thinking. But we are here to listen. If that is the thinking, sometimes it can be correct, sometimes it can be wrong, but it is necessary that we get to hear more from the public so that we know what the thinking is, and ours is to ensure that with the information that we have, because in the offices that we sit, they are offices of privilege. We have access to a lot of information. We've got access to a lot of data. We might actually know a bit more than what the rest of the public may know. But it is necessary that, coupled with the information coming from the public, it makes our knowledge base a bit more richer. And with that, we'll be able to communicate back and have a common or shared vision with the public, so that together we all move in the same direction. So it's about narrowing the information gap. That's why at times, even when you know to say a certain suggestion might not work, you don't need to just go out there and say, no, this will not work. If you say this will not work, you must explain why it will not work. So we will engage, and we will listen, and we will come to a position where we begin to move together. But the important thing is we will be moving in the right direction. It might not be at a pace that the public might be very comfortable with, but the critical thing is we must move, and we must move forward as a nation, because that is what development entails.
All right. P.S. I would want to remind you, last time we sat here, it was a day after the World Cleanup Day last year. Of course, we appreciated the interventions that you did put in place together with other stakeholders, and with regards to maintaining the state of cleanliness within the CBD. A similar thing happened where some selected spots within CBD were cleaned, and just a few hours later, we saw heaps of garbage piling up in places where the cleanup process was done. Just on Saturday, of course, you've testified that this is something that happened. And when you came here, you talked about the need, first of all, of ensuring that sensitization is heightened before we speak more to the implementation of existing laws on public health and the like. And this is becoming more of a tradition. Should we get worried that maybe some of the efforts we are putting in place are not yielding the positive results at which our intentions are focused on?
Well, look, you don't need to get worried to say some of the efforts that we are putting in place are not yielding the positive results. There is an element of positivity which we are seeing.
Okay.
We are seeing some change. It might not be that significant, but there is a movement towards reaching where we aim to reach as a people. Just now, I'm saying we're seated next to an activist here. This is a relatively young man who, without pay, has been in many places trying to clean, trying to sensitize the public to say cleanliness is the direction that we need to go, because it's not just good for him as Mulenga, it is also good for the commuters who pass through Kulima Tower. It is also good for people who stay in Chilenje, who stay in Kablonga. It's good for everyone. So the message, I think, is beginning to sink in the minds of the people. It is beginning to sink, and we remain positive to say sooner rather than later the narrative will change. We just need to continue hammering at it, and not just talking about it. We also need to be pragmatic and demonstrate to say we are walking the talk. Right now, if you go to many government offices, you will see that even in government offices, there is a deliberate move to ensure that the environment is clean. The environment is clean. Many are cleaning around their places. Those who have not started, you'll probably see them starting cleaning around their business places. It starts with one office. It moves on to the next, and before you realize it, you have a chain of success. When you come to the Ministry of Local Government, for instance, if you just come out to the Ministry of Local Government, you will note that we have we're generally keeping the surroundings clean. We have grass planted outside the yard. This is to ensure that we have a green environment. That is actually what we are doing, as a ministry. So we continue to ensure that we channel this information and act appropriately. So that is our role as a ministry, and we will not be deterred. We know that along the way you could face a number of encounters. You could face some stumbling blocks, but it is part of life. It's a good problem. There are problems which we are ready and are willing to face. Every day when we wake up, we report for work. One of my responsibilities is to deal with problems that are presented to my office. That is what the public is paying me for. That is why I was put in that office, is to deal with problems. And where I'm unable to deal with the problem as an individual, I'll engage. I'll collaborate with colleagues at PS level. I'll collaborate with directors. I'll collaborate with the entire government system. But solutions must be found, and they will be found. So this issue of cleanliness, it is something which we must live with. We must accept to say we need to clean our environment. We need to clean outside our office places, just the way we brush our teeth every day, just the way people who shave every day, they shave, just the way we sleep every day. Even cleanliness must be part and parcel of our menu on a daily basis as a people. If you can't do it on your own, employ a person.
All right. So before you come in, would we suggest that in the meantime, the laws on public health will surely be gathering dust on the shelves of the ministry?
They'll not be gathering dust. If need be, they'll be used. The laws are there. The laws are a grand norm. It is what governs us as a people. It's what defines wrong and right. So if you are doing something which is wrong, the law will visit you. But of course, we are also alive to the fact that there are people who might have been ignorant of the law. Okay, and of course, it's said that ignorance to the law is not a defense. But sometimes you give people latitude to say, reform. repent, move in the right direction, go into the designated trading places. Don't go out there and start selling meat in the middle of Freedom Way and there's cholera. Do not go out there and start selling illicit alcohol in the middle of the CBD. We do not need to move in that direction as a people. Do not go out there and dump garbage, hoping that Mulenga will come and collect this. Or if it's not Mulenga, it will be Mulenga, it will be Hamaundu, it will be Her Honor the Vice President. Before that, it was His Excellency the President and a number of ministers to come and collect this garbage. Why should we want a situation where people you've given responsibility of giving strategic direction, why do we want them to come down and begin to do this work? We are taking away from their time to think and see how they can improve the circumstances of their country. So let us be responsible. Let us act correctly. All of us are indicated in my opening statement to say, if all the slightly under 20 million people in Zambia take it upon themselves to say, we need to put garbage where it is supposed to be, believe you me, in a space of perhaps a month or two, there will be very noticeable change.
All right.
Just one day of cleaning Freedom Way, one day of cleaning Lumumba. Those who went in immediately after the cleaning was done actually saw that there was a breath of fresh air. The place was looking nice, and they were happy to be in that environment. Just one day. And a few hours, actually. When you say one day, it's 24 hours, but within 3-4 hours, the place was clean. Mulenga, I saw him posting on social media the other day. I think he was cleaning, but it should be on, were you on Cairo Road or somewhere?
Cairo Road and Freedom Way.
Cleaning. The place is looking clean. And people are appreciating that. The majority of the people are appreciating that. But the ones who are responsible or irresponsible for that debt are actually probably laughing to say, what are these people doing? But there comes a time in every person's life that you must say, this is the end of this wrong behavior. Let us all act correctly. Like I said, some people want to do it to punish others, to say, let's just punish these people.
Yeah.
They think they can clean town. We'll see. Are they the first ones who've tried to do this? They too will fail. Why should you advance an agenda to say, why should you have a mind to say they must fail? This agenda is for everyone. Cleanliness is about everyone. If we are in a clean environment, all of us will be smiling, all of us will have fresh air, all of us, chances are, will be enjoying a reasonably good health. It's better for everyone. So it's necessary that we just begin to act correctly. Let us not be selfish.
And just to affirm with what the PS has talked about, I'm privileged to be engaged by the DMMU as well as the Lusaka DC to supervise, because they have engaged about 150 people cleaning the city. Yeah, and I happen to be the supervisor of these people. So now, the problem that we are having, here is the situation. On Monday, we are cleaning in the morning from 7:30 up to 12:30. So what happened was this. From, along Freedom Way, we started from Mount Mero that side. The time we were reaching Lima Tower, we had done good work. I started going back to see if what we did was good. My brother, I found heaps of garbage. Now, the problem with me is that earlier on the PS just elaborated on, he actually talked about these shop owners keeping their bins inside the shop. That one for me is the biggest problem that I've also come to find. So what these people are doing, I've interacted with a good number of them because I've been working there from Monday up to today. I've interacted with a good number of street vendors, street kids, as well as shop owners. So these shop owners, what they do, when their bins are full of garbage, they give amajanki. Ukuya paila and freedom way. So this is where the situation you find that even these local authorities of council, they could go there, they pick everything they pick. By 17 hours, the highland will be full of garbages. It's because of these shop owners and some part of my street vendors. And then the other problem that I've just come to also notice is that these local authorities, in as much as they are calling to work with stakeholders as well as individuals, but they are not really doing justice. And I've just come to understand that issues of solid waste management as mixed with politics. I'll give you an example. When I came here in Lusaka, that was last year, you saw what was happening on social media. I had a group of about 115 youths who were willing to work on a voluntary basis. We went to Useko Market. That was last year in October. Useko Market to do a cleanup. This public health, I don't know the director or whatever, I didn't even know where I came from. He chased us like dogs. We're not doing something bad. We're just doing the cleanup. Even some of these marginalists, they went away. And these are the people who are saying we would like to work with the individuals to partner with stakeholders. Secondly, I went to the Lusaka Civic Center. If they could engage me as well as my colleagues to work so that we may see a clean Zambia and a litter-free Zambia, because we have an aim to see a litter-free Zambia by 2026. This person, I went direct to the Department of Public Health. What they told me, the time the man saw me, was like, this is the young man who was trending on social media. If this boy were to be I wrote a letter. Actually, I have one of them. I wrote a letter. If they could engage us with my team. The time I went back there in November, they said, kalata yari ruba, okoya. I was forced to write another one. I went back to 20 December 2022. They said, the letter has been mispressed and the director for public health, Mr. Kagori, is not in the country. So you need to write another one addressing to the town clerk. But I saw that there is a need on the ground there. These are the people, council workers, who are being paid on every month end. But you find, each and every time you find the roads are dead-end and everything. I wrote another letter addressing to the town clerk. This is the letter. If they could engage us. Up to now, they said, don't come back here, we'll call you. Up to now, I'm still waiting for the call. So now, these are also the same people who are going to make HH fail. It's not that the president is not doing enough when it comes to sensitization and everything about the waste solid management. He's doing perfectly nice, but he doesn't even know what is going on background. And I'm sure even the PS, just like he said that he had gone back there, and I'm sure even him, he doesn't know most of the things that is happening. Muma street umsomo, mwari ba makadas, ba PF kada, ba UPND kada, ba shani. Some of them, when you talk to them, they will answer you in a rude way. I'm speaking about like a Tondo Street, that one. Because I was even talking to them this morning, I was working. I was talking to them. We say shana after all your government president minister. So now, what we need at the moment is it's not about politics. We just want a healthy city, a healthy country. I'm telling you, if we are to continue saying no, we want to later kunala tupoke nchito pantuna kwa tama followers shani. What we need at the end of the day is to see a clean Zambia. And how do we do that? It's also through partnering with stakeholders, individuals who are passionate about our own environment.
Right.
Just not to cut you, talking about the street vendors, because these are the culprits. It's very sad to note that these our colleagues actually operate from places with no proper toilets, no running water. They just throw garbages anyway. And now, the council also has contributed a lot. what they tell these street vendors is that nga mwapya nga pala mule bombela mule bika efisoso somewhere tukalasa mukusenda. That's what they tell them. So tabakwata pressure yakuba tibashita bin. No, they don't, because vakanso balasa mukusenda. Now what happens is that vakanso sometimes tabakwata motoka kai they don't have fuel. Tabakwata motoka yakuya mukusenda. At the end of the day, filefi konga bafipya nga bafibika panshi pale. Fyalambo kululuka, fyalambo kuya. And how are we going to develop as a nation? And I've even been to the office of the PS. I went there to introduce myself. I've also written to the Ministry of Local Government if they could also engage us with my colleagues, my team. Even now, I'm also still waiting for them to give us a response.
Ready to open the phone lines. The number is 0977-624270. That is 0977-624270. In the studio, I do have with me the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary, and Mr. Mambo Hamaundu, as well as Martin Mulenga, who is an environmental activist. Our conversation for this morning is on the state of cleanliness in Lusaka. I would want to get your comment, question, or contribution on the program. You can utilize either our WhatsApp or just by calling us live on 0977-624270. You are through to live radio. Good morning.
Thomas. Morning, Thomas.
Morning, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm absolutely fine. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yes, I'm on the morning.
Morning.
Okay. My issue must be direct on cleaning the feet. I have a different one. I just wanted to find out from the PA. Despite that he is under the ministry which is control of this CBF. Yes, about I don't know under CBF for us patients living with disability. We are not allowed to do it. What is going on there? Particularly myself, I've tried for so many times since it started last year. The CBF has been increased, but there is no for us to access it. I don't know how you are going to help me with my colleagues who are outside there. Because these people, it seems they actually are knowledge about how to go about with it. Thank you very much. I need your response.
All right, Raphael, thank you for coming to appreciate it. 0977-624270. That is 0977-624270. So quickly, going through the question, he was asking about how you are helping patients with disability access the CDF. He says that he has challenges with his colleagues to access the CDF funds. All right, 09, you're through to live radio law. All right, 0977-624270. That is 0977-624270. This is Environmental Chat right here on live radio. And today we're discussing the state of cleanliness in Lusaka with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary in Mr. Mambo Hamaundu. I don't know what is happening with our line. It is tripping. I'm seeing calls coming through, but try via WhatsApp if you're having challenges with getting a hold of us via phone call. It is on the same number, 0977-624270. That is 0977-624270. I'll be more than glad to surely appreciate your coming through and adding your question or making your contributions on the platform. Hello, you're through to live radio.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm absolutely fine. How are you?
I'm okay. This is Kasoka calling from the Good morning, Mr. Mambo Hamaundu and Mr. Mulenga.
Good morning, Mr. Kasoka.
Good morning, sir.
The contention by most street vendors is that once you move them from the street, they don't have alternative places to go to. Is it true that these people have no alternative places to go to once you move them from the street? Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kasoka, for coming to appreciate. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Great. 0977-624270. That is 0977-624270. So if you're having challenges with giving us a direct phone call, please send a WhatsApp, a voice note on the same number. it is very much active on WhatsApp. I will appreciate you coming through via that platform as well. The number still remains 0977 624270. You can ask your question, make your contributions, or just drop a comment via text as well. We appreciate tapping your line of thought in relation to our discussion that we're having this morning, discussing all things relating to the state of cleanliness in Lusaka with the PS in the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Mambo Hamaundu, as well as an environmental activist, Martin Mulenga. All right, as we await for other contributors to come through, PS, you can pick it up.
Thank you. For Raphael, the question really was on access to CDF for our brothers and sisters who are differently abled. Some of them are having challenges. I can mention to say that at the ministry we've actually received quite a number of applications. We've looked at applications from various constituencies where there are a number of people with special needs who have been assisted via CDF. But perhaps what my brother Raphael can do is that if he's having challenges and he's the resident of Lusaka, perhaps he could come through the ministry so that we have a conversation and really understand the issue which is challenging. Because when you say challenges to having access to CDF, it's broad. Is it that they don't have access to the guidelines? Is it that they are not being attended to, or they're not being recommended when they put in a request? So it could be a number of issues there. But we are open as a ministry to have a conversation at that and give the necessary guidance, because His Excellency the President has actually given indication to say that we must pay particular attention to people who are differently abled, so that they are given an opportunity to improve their socio-economic status. Mr. Kasoka Mutendera asked a question to say, is it true that vendors don't have an alternative trading places? And again, I'll refer you to the statistics that my minister gave not so long ago. There are approximately 5,000 trading places which are empty now in Lusaka. 5,000 trading places. Some of them in city markets, some of them in Matero, some of them in Lilanda, Chawama, Kawata, across all the 7 constituencies of Lusaka. There are trading places which are available. It is just that I think people generally had gotten used to say you can easily make money when you go onto the streets. It is easy for them to run to a car. You drop your window, you buy what you want to buy, and that's it. So what we actually need to do as a people is to approach this particular aspect from 2 points of view. Because if there were no people buying from street vendors, would we have street vendors? I ask a question now, though I'm the one who's asking questions. But if we had no people buying from the street, would there be vendors on the street? The answer is no. So it is a two-way thing. So even from the people who are buying, we also need to ensure that we probably start going to the market to buy these particular goods. The other day I was on another discussion forum where one alleges that the issue is sometimes the markets, the operating hours are very restrictive. That is a conversation that we are willing to have. That's a discussion that we are willing to tolerate, so that we can extend the hours of operation to accommodate those people who want to buy things at awkward hours. So it is necessary, really, at the end of the day, that we all begin to do things correctly. Like I said, on garbage or solid waste management, if we all begin to act right, we will not have a problem. On street vending, if all of us agreed to say, I'll go and buy my vegetables from Kawata Market, because there's a place where vegetables are sold in Kawata Market. We'll all go and buy our vegetables in Nivala because there's a place. City Market, there's a place. If we all agree to say, I'll go in Chisokone Market or whichever market to go and buy my goods, then the need to buy from the street will be reduced, and people will actually begin to go back to the streets, because to the markets, because that is where trading must take place. And as government, we've actually been deliberate. Not so long ago, I had the privilege of accompanying the Minister of SMEs. We were at BH Market, where booster loans were being given. Booster loans were being given to marketeers, people who've got designated trading places, to just improve their business circumstances. It is because they are recognizable. We know to say, this one is Mrs. So-so-so, Nanguniwana Chitech, they are selling from this particular place. They are given a loan to improve their business. So government is willing and ready to help those of you who want to operate in designated trading places. So go into these markets and stand a chance to even have your business boosted by way of a loan. And the loans that were coming from CEC then were interest-free. And there was a limit in terms of amounts, but it's interest-free. It's money which is just given to you to improve your business circumstances. So my appeal once again would be, please let us all go back to the markets. Let us all go and trade from designated trading places. It is not necessary for people to begin to have running battles with law enforcers over a matter which is very, very straightforward. So let's just go back to designated trading places. And I can also mention, I think Mulenga was being told by people on he said on Katondo, saying there's a conflict or there's an argument between the minister and the president. There's no argument at all. The direction is the same. How can there be an argument between the minister and the president? They cannot be one. We have one appointing authority, who's the president, and the president is the leader. The president gives direction, and in respect of the matter which they are referring to, what the president advised was have stakeholder engagement. Engage the stakeholders, consult, let them see your point of view, and then we can all move in the same direction. And as government, we have been engaging. We have engaged the civic leaders in Lusaka. All the 39 or 40 civic leaders in Lusaka have been engaged. All the members of parliament in Lusaka are aware of this discussion. We've had an engagement with the church mother bodies. We've had an engagement with NGOCC, and we continue engaging. At the end of the day, when we are done with our consultation, with our engagement, stakeholder engagement process, we will then communicate a decision that would have been arrived at as a result of this consultation. But at the end of the day, what we need to do is to ensure that we are operating in an environment which is clean, which is green, which is sanitary. We don't need to expose ourselves to unnecessary death. The vice president the other day actually did indicate to say one life lost is more dear than the cost of cleaning up. So the instruction is, let us find ways and means of cleaning up. Let us engage. Let us come up with a position. At times we might appear like we are being cruel, but the critical thing is we are looking at it from a long-term perspective. We need to save the lives of people. We need to ensure that we can attract more businesses, and therefore there will be chances of people to be employed. Because when government is raising more revenue, more taxes, there are chances of being employed both by the private and the public sector. So we must just all come to an understanding and move in the right direction.
All right, let's pick another set of calls. 0977 624270. That is 0977 624270. Alternatively, drop us a voice note on WhatsApp on the very number 0977 4270. I'll be more than glad to surely hear from you on the program this morning. I have in studio the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Mambo Hamaundu, as well as an environmental activist, and Martin Mulenga. Hello, you're through to Live Radio.
Hello, Mulibwanji.
Tilibwena Mulibwanji.
Tilibwena mukamba na wene wake Murusaka.
Alright, wene.
Wene wake.
Tena unkani wene wake.
Sangera kwenu mwana chikila exprema soborori. Akili ngani mbeka mushe. Challenge amene yiko. Ngati benzeri mpamvu zina hangu zoka mba kutino. Winu mavenda zimuri hapa. Berani hapa. Atandi zikaya jama venda sende challenge yonso boripe. Challenge kura mena ona ya kutineni ni mmozi wao mavenda. Amene wapenzo pezera hivi ni mamo city market mmoja. Challenge kura metila ni kwamba kutistandi na italako pangono nilipanja reason ya kuti siselenza muda mkati. Chetuka wantupanja ni bambiri. Ele kupeza kati ile semo again after new doni ya bwela ya bwela nankani kwamba kuti wazana maka. Wanapoka tina maisho tegani vizuri chayo weti because naona kuti kuliko chane chinda ndizo. Wanapoka tina makuti no tuna kichike empower ma kitina. Kwa then musaine maroni, we signed the maroni April last year. Up to now, walipe response amene ibwera. Ibwera futi na kusema nkani ya CDF kwezi ya tarachika prime kumachani ya mbili kapena kumakopa iti vya mbili kati response. Yapo ya mfanya. Then itinata ndizi kabwanji. Oro kama kutino mabenda chokani ndani market. Asili wana kwate sita ndizi. Asili wana government ya Ukraine ya mele za tati zila check special kumabenda asili. Kama kuti chokani hapa ndani hapa then ya kuchani protect mungira hii. Kia kuchosani hapa ya kupelekani kutumisolezele market. Then ya wani street ya wacho sapa za paka. So that wote kinkare iko. Ono tilipira marevenue yana nkana ya wakansa. Ishita benefit nice. Na country yonke ishita benefit. But there is no switch and mizira ine. Kutini na standing mtumo city market. Mchito kulipe. Wakansa wakoro nilipi isa. Weka lipanga sari pia. Agui isa kulushe kutira ine.
Alright.
Mizanka nila sari market. So,
Wene wake.
Yes, boss.
Tayami kila ziko mkambiri.
Okay.
Alright. 2 minutes is what you have to make your submission. 0977 624270. That is 0977 624270. That being the number being utilized on the platform for questions, comments, as well as contributions. I'll be more than glad to also hear from you as to the comments you have for us this morning on that very line. Active also on WhatsApp. You're through to Live Radio. Hello? 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 You're through to Live Radio. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm absolutely fine. How are you, sir? Maukabonji. Waposha. All right. Tena yonkana yakun.
Tuliko na maishu ya rangi ngombe. Tukoda mpedu 06. Tunataka wenda kumakoti koti hivi. Koti wanapata makanto kuja tisakile maro. Koti hiyo wanapata vitu kuja tisakile maro. Toka hapo wanatipate maro wakanto. Tena ndilato tikatana igirisa wana gura na mbanga mmoja. Tuko wote na chebwa
Iyo landi yowa foster ni landi ya bwanji. Ni agreement yenze bwanji.
Na kitambi zireko kukanguri ishira ya bakanto nikamwezi mana anaguri salandi anaguri samudioni anaguri saburi wakanto nini nilanzo zinaenda kukoti kukoti wanaoza kuti wakanto hakuna kusitakira maro kwa mkare kama mmoja wa wote wanapata sisi mwanzo ndio watakile maro kwa kusereka na hata tena polisi wanatakilile kama mpenzi sisi kupigana na polisi ndio wanataka kuna marangi ya Tanzania danambo manga sisi na mori mai.
Okay, siko mkwambiri wa foster. All right, Zekombo Watambeses. 0977-624270. That is 0977-624270. This is my last set of calls for the program, so you might want to be a part of it as we conclude today's edition of Environmental Chat. It is on 0977-624270. That is the number you are actively participating on in asking your questions, making your contributions, as well as comments. Hello, you're through to live radio.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. G.
Yes, how are you?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Your name and where you're calling from?
Daniel.
All right, Daniel, go ahead, please.
Yeah, that's what I've read it so very well. But my main concern is, yes, for the right, we all need training on research. But you know, there's much data in research, and for sure, the vending is affecting all of us. You know, I want to make a suggestion where the government should find some more places where to take these people, because again, there'll be more confusion, especially when the government have no place to take these people, so that they can be stealing from everything. Would that be blaming each other to say, no, that government did this, the government did this. That every time we have to making it like some kind of things to one another. But all we need is to work together. The PS are put it together. We work together, and also the channel of communication to the government has to be clear. The government says no. Whenever you make a request, it should be that attended to that right there. But you see, people are complaining. You say no, we're still waiting. I have a complaint for the long, we're still waiting.
All right, I guess the channel of communication being referred to is with regards to CDF. You talked about people waiting for loans and the like. 0977-624270. I might want to pick my final caller for the program this morning. You might want to call 0977-624270. I have my final caller with me right here. Let's hear their comments, question, or contribution on the platform today on Environmental Chat on Live Radio. Hello, you're through to Live Radio. Good morning.
Hello, Thomas.
Hey, Mocha.
Just a minute, I'm back again. After I keep someone, thank you very much. I read your guidance. I don't know how I can be able to meet you, because I remember one day I came to your office, of which I was blocked by your secretary not to have access to enter in your office. I don't know how you are going to advise me as of now.
Mm-hmm. I think if you can share your number, I'll call you after the program.
Okay, I give you my number.
It's okay. I will share with him. I've gotten it.
Please, Thomas, you should do that, and I'll be waiting. Thank you, PS.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming through. All right. On that note, we close the lines. PS and Mr. Mulenga can pick it up. Maybe I start with Mr. Mulenga before PS.
Oh, yes. Just wanted to talk about where the young man talked about they have signed loans and they are waiting for it and what. I'm sure sometimes let's not more like babysitting each and every time. If you have seen that you have tried and the government is not responding to you, try to engage yourself in some other things. This is the problem that we're having. Then the same guy was saying that there is confusion. Just do what is right. That's why you are there. Do what is right. If it means to move from the streets and you go back into the market, do that, and others, they will start following you. And the other thing, I would just also maybe like to state that as it stands at the moment, I know I'm speaking as an activist. As it stands, I would say our government at the moment they have got no solution.
Okay.
I'm saying that because each and every time we are talking about the same thing. That's the same system I was talking about. We are just talking about the same thing. Now, myself, I've come up with an organization which is yet to be approved by under the Ministry of community development, and it shall be called Green Cosmos. I've seen that injustice has been going on upper ground where you talk about environment and everything. So I've come up with passionate young people and elderly people, and we want to work with the local authorities to supplement the government efforts. And I pray that tukaya kuli office yawa PS tabaka yetu tabaka yetu tumwena mufena ngulo kwa fati okay, will respond to you, just bring your papers and they go off like that, because this is what mostly happens in government offices. You go there with your suggestions, they will say okay, bring your papers, you take the papers, you start waiting and nothing comes up. But my area of interest at the moment is, please engage us, PS. Engage me as an activist. This problem of each and every time talking about littering, each and every time, and when cholera comes, it's not going to come to you to the PS, neither is it going to go to Galim Combo or the Akainde Ichilema. It will come for everyone. And what will happen? We are going to be affected as a country. You are going to be forced to kuingisha government offers shilendala mesha inokuya kuma CDF shinokuya kuli fertilizer shikaya kumuta abantu bakambye kushito muti so that bafwe kwa abantu bakolera. So now how do we do that as a country? Engage people who are passionate about the environment. And the other thing, these people are occupying government offices. We have a lot of people this time around occupying government offices, and they are blocking progress in country. This has happened. Kuruansha, I was actually broke to that side. Come here in Lusaka, the same thing. And these people, when you follow them, they are cadres to whatever political affiliated they are to. And some politicians have been calling me to say, come work with you. I'm not in politics. All that I want to see is a green Zambia.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Your reaction to the cause?
I first of all love the energy that is being exhibited by Mulenga. Youth exuberance is actually what we need. But of course, as leaders, we've got a responsibility to guide this energy so that it achieves the desired result. So that is all I can say on his comment. We remain open and available. At times, when you come to an office and you don't receive the attention that you think you should have received, it should not be perceived as being blocked. We operate in a certain manner, but I understand where he's coming from, and I actually appreciate his sentiment, and I can go even beyond further to say I appreciate what he's doing in terms of his activism, his involvement in trying to clean the city, which it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and it must continue. But indeed, we must work as a collective and come up with a long-lasting solution. Sustainability is very critical, and that is something which we are looking at as a ministry. Whenever Zanamaka promised you loans, I think I did indicate in this program as we are talking to say that I was privileged to attend a launch of booster loans right at BH Marketing. That's part of Soweto, and I believe that people were given loans. Actually, they were there. I saw them. They were receiving money, and this was done under the auspices of Zanamaka and the bank. I think it was Access Bank. So it's something which is happening. So at times, if you are left out as an individual, it doesn't mean that the whole activity or the whole project has not succeeded. So, and I can only encourage you to continue trying, because it's about being persistent. And even when you want a booster loan, it should really and truly be for the purposes of boosting your business, because at times there are people who just say we want to get loans when they really do not need the loans, but it's just that they want to be in the limelight. And with regards to the land issue in Chiwombo, my appeal to them would be to come through the office. I don't know the legal status of the issue that is being referred to, so I don't want to be cited for contempt of court. So it's something where they can come through. We have a conversation, or indeed they should go to the Chiwombo Council and have a conversation with the town clerk. So that would be my comment on that. And then of course for Daniel, he was emphasizing or re-emphasizing the need for us to work together, the need for us to find solutions. And when you now come to aspects around CDF and CDF loans, a number of people have been given grants through the Constituency Development Fund. A number of activities are happening through CDF. And again, I want to repeat this. If you have not received direct money in your hands, it doesn't mean that there are no people who are benefiting.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who've gone to school who should have been coming to you to ask for money, but because they've been sponsored through CDF, they'll not come to you to ask for money. That is an invisible relief that you see. There are roads, community roads which have been worked on. In I think in Kalikiliki there were some roads which were being worked on through CDF. But individuals within those areas were not given money directly, but rather their facilities were improved. So let us look at things from that perspective. Yes, as individuals, we could put in applications, we could apply for loans, but there are times where you apply for a loan and your application is not successful because when people look at your application, you give them an indication to say the business that you want to involve yourself in will not be sufficient to generate resources to pay back the loan, because the loan must be paid back. So it is necessary that as we are planning, we should not just say, no, I think there's cheap money, no, there's no free money. This money must be utilized for the purposes of developing businesses, for the purposes of improving businesses. It is something which we must think through and think through properly. And if we are unable to write, but we've got a concept, we've got an idea, let us engage with our brothers and sisters who are able to write. Let us use family resources so that those who can translate your vision into a business case can do it on your behalf. They make a presentation and you get your loan and you improve the business circumstances. And when that happens, we know that you create a job or two. We know that you'll be contributing to the tax revenues of the country. We know that you're contributing towards improving the livelihoods of people around you. And that is what we need as a country. So generally speaking, that is that about CDF. You actually see more and more activities in 2023. I did indicate before to say that under CDF now we are looking at making a provision of $1 million for rural electrification. We are looking at issues around palaces for chiefs. We are looking at issues of security, that is improving the security in areas by making available vehicles to all the constituencies. We are also looking at a presidential pronouncement of ensuring that no child must sit on the floor by the end of 2023. That is, all schools must have desks. This is the collaboration we're having between the Ministry of Education and ourselves through CDF. So there are a number of activities that will be happening. And when you're looking at skills and bursaries, that is still ongoing. We're empowering the minds of our people, the minds of our children, so that our children will be literate. Our children will be able to make wiser decisions. Our children will be more strategic when it comes to thinking. But without education, you cannot think strategically, because you need to have your mind developed. So there's a lot of work which is happening around the Constituency Development Fund. Some of it, the impact will be seen immediately. Some of it, the impact will be seen after a year, two. Some of it, indeed, is more long-term. If you have a child who's in grade 8 now, for you to really appreciate that you have invested in a child, you have to wait for another 10 years so that they finish their secondary school, go into university, they're done with university. That's when you begin to reap the benefits from this mind, which should have been developed as a result of the collective effort of the community through the Constituency Development Fund. So a number of activities are happening there. But back to the substantive matter, which is about the environment. All I can say, Thomas, is let us work together tiensenzere pamozi atuberekera anthu omwe. Let us ensure that we clean our city, we clean our country. It is our responsibility as government, it is our responsibility as the private sector, it is our responsibility as individuals. So all of us have got a role to play. If we all act and act properly, we will have a clean and green environment. We will have water moving in the drains properly. Yes. We will have a system which is organized and will be achieving the desired results. So like I indicated, ours is to listen and implement policy for the betterment of our country. That is my submission. Thank you very much. Ndalumba maningi mwamireza mulerege. How do you say it in Bemba?
Natotera sana.
Natotera. Yes,
and I'm sure just Thomas
I
before.
can probably speak in a bit of Nyanja.
In under a minute.
Yes. Before you just cut.
In a minute, please.
Yes. What I would say is that I've got solutions on how we can end this issue of solid waste, but it comes with a cost. That time I wanted to give myself to work on a voluntary. I'm sure that time was gone. And sometimes let's also try to study politics. There's this book Charles Moore has written. He has talked good about how we can get away with this garbage and everything. And then the other thing also, this is also an appeal to the local authorities, to the local government, that let's try, in as much as we talk about the streets are dirty, the town is dirty, but where also do we throw the garbage? Let's also try to go and check where we throw our garbage, because as you see Chunga this time around, Chunga is not looking okay. Just like you are speaking about PS, you are talking about promoting young people with skills, but if that skill is not used, then it becomes nothing. Same applies to the towns. If we are cleaning the towns but we don't have where to take the garbage, then we are doing nothing. So please, let's try to look into that, and sometimes let's just be factual and practice so that we may see a clean Zambia. The problem is that we Zambians, we are theoretical, not practical. Last year, the Minister Gary Nkombo was here, this live FM, he was talking about we are going to have a clean Lusaka, and it ended there. So these are the things people want to see. You've talked about desks by the 2023. These are the things that people want to see that it has been achieved. Otherwise, if we just talk and we end there, the other day we come and we talk, then we are not going to progress as a country.
On a desk in where you've come from.
No, so please, PS, help us on that one, and please engage me. And as soon as our Green Cosmos organization is approved, I'll come direct to your office. And all please, right, I'm still waiting for your call that you promised.
All right, Martin, thank you for coming through. We end today's edition of Environmental Chat by taking an oversight look